If I told you that the secret to success in life isn't just IQ, but a hidden skill that decides your relationships, your career, and your entire future, what would you say? This skill is called emotional intelligence. Starting today, we begin a journey through this life-changing book in 10 chapters, and your way of thinking will change forever.
Chapter 1, Understanding the Foundation of Emotional Intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the capacity to recognize, understand, and manage emotions in oneself and in others. It is a psychological framework that explains why some individuals, regardless of academic brilliance or intellectual ability, perform better in relationships, leadership, self-management, and decision-making. This chapter introduces the fundamental structure of emotional intelligence and establishes the base upon which the later chapters will build. Traditional intelligence focuses on logical reasoning, memory, and analytical skills. Emotional intelligence, however, extends beyond cognitive abilities and examines how a person responds to emotional situations. Research shows that human behavior is not shaped by intellect alone. Everyday actions, from handling conflict to staying motivated, depend heavily on emotional responses. A person may have high academic achievements yet struggle with relationships, teamwork, and self-control. Emotional intelligence helps bridge this gap between knowledge and behavior. The foundation of emotional intelligence rests on the understanding that emotions are not random experiences. They are biological signals produced by the brain to guide attention, influence decisions, and shape interactions. These signals, if understood correctly, help individuals respond thoughtfully. When ignored, misunderstood, or suppressed, they can lead to impulsive reactions, poor judgment, and broken communication. Recognizing emotions as data points rather than obstacles is the first step toward developing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is typically divided into 4 core components. The first component is self-awareness. It refers to the ability to identify one's emotional state at any given moment. A self-aware person can recognize whether they are stressed, anxious, frustrated, or calm. This awareness allows for better decision-making because emotions influence thinking patterns. Without self-awareness, a person may react without understanding the cause of their behavior, which often results in misunderstanding and conflict. The second component is self-management. This involves controlling emotional reactions and directing them in useful ways. For example, stress can be channeled into focus instead of panic. Anger can be moderated into assertiveness instead of aggression. Self-management is not about suppressing emotions, but about regulating them. Individuals who master this skill can adapt to challenges, remain steady in difficult situations, and maintain consistent behavior. In workplaces and personal relationships, such stability is viewed as reliability. The third component is social awareness. It refers to understanding other people's emotions, needs, and perspectives. This skill makes it possible to read facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language accurately. Social awareness helps individuals navigate social environments, communicate with clarity, and respond appropriately. It is particularly important in culturally diverse settings, where people may express emotions differently. Social awareness builds empathy, which is essential for managing relationships and resolving conflicts. The fourth component is relationship management. This aspect focuses on how to handle interactions with others. It includes skills such as communication, conflict resolution, influence, cooperation, and leadership. People with strong relationship management skills can create positive interactions, motivate others, and manage disagreements effectively. In professional settings, this contributes to teamwork and productivity. In personal life, it strengthens trust and emotional connection. The importance of emotional intelligence becomes clear when examining how people function under pressure. During emotional stress, the brain's rational processing temporarily decreases, and instinctive reactions take over. Individuals with low emotional intelligence may respond impulsively, say things they later regret, or make decisions based on fear or anger. Those with high emotional intelligence remain aware of their internal state and take deliberate actions rather than reactive ones. This ability to pause and assess emotions leads to better outcomes. Another fundamental concept in emotional intelligence is emotional literacy. It refers to naming emotions correctly. Many individuals experience complex feelings but cannot identify them precisely. For example, frustration, disappointment, and sadness may be confused with one another. Emotional literacy helps individuals understand what they are truly experiencing. When emotions are named accurately, they become easier to manage. Without emotional vocabulary, people struggle to explain their feelings, which leads to misunderstandings. The development of emotional intelligence is influenced by early life experiences. Family interactions, school environment, and social exposure shape how a person interprets and expresses emotions. However, emotional intelligence is not fixed. It can be improved at any age through awareness and practice. Unlike IQ, which is relatively stable, emotional intelligence grows through self-reflection, learning, and mindful behavior. This adaptability makes emotional intelligence a valuable personal development tool. Emotional intelligence also plays a significant role in motivation. Emotions drive action. A motivated person uses positive emotions such as curiosity, hope, and enthusiasm to move toward goals. Conversely, unmanaged negative emotions can weaken motivation. Emotional intelligence enables individuals to understand their emotional triggers and use this understanding to sustain long-term effort. It helps in setting realistic goals, overcoming setbacks, and maintaining consistency. In leadership, emotional intelligence is often a stronger predictor of success than technical skill. Leaders with high emotional intelligence build trust, inspire people, and maintain team stability. They listen actively, resolve conflicts fairly, and communicate expectations clearly. On the other hand, leaders who lack emotional intelligence may create stressful environments, damage morale, and increase turnover. Leadership effectiveness depends on managing emotions in oneself and in others. In personal relationships, emotional intelligence enhances connection and reduces conflict. It helps individuals express themselves without causing harm, and it improves the ability to listen and understand others. Relationships often fail not because of major problems, but because of repeated emotional misunderstandings. Emotional intelligence addresses these misunderstandings by encouraging clarity, empathy, and patience. Overall, emotional intelligence forms the backbone of effective human behavior. It influences how people think, act, and relate to one another. It is a skill set that enhances decision-making, communication, and personal stability. This chapter establishes the essential concepts that will be explored in greater depth in the next chapters. Understanding these foundational ideas prepares the reader to examine emotional intelligence more systematically and apply it in everyday life. Chapter 2. The Biology of Emotions and the Architecture of the Brain. Understanding emotional intelligence requires a clear examination of how the human brain processes emotions. Emotions are not abstract sensations. They are biological reactions generated through specific neural pathways. This chapter explains the structure of the emotional brain, the functions of key regions, and how these systems influence behavior, perception, and decision-making. The human brain can be divided into three broad functional layers. The first is the most primitive layer, often called the reptilian brain. It controls survival instincts such as breathing, heartbeat, and reflex actions. The second layer is the limbic system, which is responsible for emotions, memory, and motivation. The third layer is the neocortex, the most advanced region, responsible for reasoning, planning, language, and higher thinking. Emotional intelligence emerges from the interaction between the limbic system and the neocortex. At the center of emotional processing lies the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped structure located deep within the limbic system. The amygdala detects emotional signals, especially those related to threat or safety. It acts as an early warning system, scanning the environment for cues that may require an immediate reaction. When the amygdala senses danger, it activates the body's stress response before the rational brain has time to analyze the situation. This rapid response is helpful in emergencies, but can lead to impulsive decisions when not regulated. Another essential part of the emotional brain is the hippocampus. The hippocampus stores emotional memories and connects past experiences with present situations. It helps individuals interpret emotional signals accurately. For example, if a person experiences a difficult event, the hippocampus records the emotional context. When a similar situation appears later, the hippocampus retrieves the stored memory and influences how the person reacts. The accuracy or distortion of these memories can affect emotional responses. The neocortex, particularly the prefrontal cortex, plays a critical role in controlling emotional reactions. It evaluates information, weighs consequences, and makes deliberate choices. When functioning effectively, the prefrontal cortex regulates the amygdala and prevents emotional impulses from taking over. This regulatory process is essential for self-control. Individuals with strong prefrontal activity are better at calming themselves, thinking before acting, and choosing constructive responses. The interaction between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex explains why emotional control varies from person to person. In stressful situations, the amygdala may dominate the prefrontal cortex. This phenomenon is often described as emotional hijacking. During an emotional hijack, the person reacts instinctively, driven by fear, anger, or anxiety. Logical analysis and rational decision-making temporarily weaken. Emotional intelligence teaches individuals how to recognize and correct these reactions by strengthening the influence of the prefrontal cortex. Neurotransmitters also play a significant role in emotional experience. These chemical messengers transmit signals between neurons and influence mood, motivation, and focus. One important neurotransmitter is serotonin, which contributes to emotional stability and well-being. Low levels of serotonin are linked with irritability, impulsive behavior, and anxiety. Another neurotransmitter, dopamine, is associated with motivation and reward. It reinforces behaviors that the brain perceives as pleasurable or successful. A balanced dopamine system supports sustained motivation and goal-directed behavior. Norepinephrine, which increases alertness and attention, rises during stress and prepares the body for action. Understanding these chemicals helps explain why emotions can affect concentration, memory, and performance. The brain's plasticity is another fundamental concept in emotional intelligence. Plasticity refers to the brain's ability to change and develop new neural pathways through experience and practice. Emotional responses that are repeated frequently become reinforced and automatic. For example, an individual who habitually reacts to conflict with anger may strengthen those neural circuits over time. Conversely, if an individual practices calm responses, empathetic listening, or thoughtful communication, new pathways can form. This adaptability means emotional intelligence is not fixed. Individuals can learn to change how they process emotions by repeatedly practicing emotionally intelligent behaviors. Stress also has a measurable biological impact on the brain. When the amygdala detects a threat, it signals the release of stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones prepare the body for immediate action by increasing heart rate, sharpening attention, and energizing muscles. While helpful in short bursts, prolonged stress weakens the prefrontal cortex and strengthens emotional reactivity. Over time, chronic stress reduces emotional stability, impairs memory, and disrupts rational judgment. Emotional intelligence helps individuals recognize stress signals early and apply strategies such as reflection, breathing regulation, and problem-solving to reduce the hormonal impact. Another important component in the biology of emotions is the mirror neuron system. Mirror neurons allow individuals to understand and reflect the emotions of others. When someone observes a facial expression or a tone of voice, the mirror neurons activate in the same way as if the observer themselves were experiencing the emotion. This mechanism forms the scientific basis of empathy. Empathy is a key part of emotional intelligence because it allows individuals to interpret others' feelings accurately and respond with sensitivity. The connection between the emotional brain and the body is also essential. Emotions produce physical reactions such as increased heartbeat, muscle tension, dry mouth, or sweating. These bodily reactions often happen before conscious thought. Individuals who pay attention to these signals can identify emotions earlier and manage them more effectively. For example, recognizing early signs of frustration may allow a person to pause and reconsider their approach before speaking. This awareness of physiological cues is part of emotional self-regulation. Sleep and nutrition also influence emotional processing. Lack of sleep weakens the prefrontal cortex and increases emotional volatility. Individuals who are sleep-deprived are more reactive, more irritable, and less capable of managing complex emotions. Similarly, nutrition affects neurotransmitter production, which in turn affects mood and cognitive function. Balanced sleep and nutrition support emotional stability and improve the brain's ability to regulate emotions. Understanding the biological foundation of emotions helps individuals appreciate the importance of emotional intelligence. Emotions are not flaws or weaknesses. They are signals produced by ancient and modern brain systems working together. When these systems function harmoniously, individuals think clearly, respond effectively, and maintain emotional balance. When they conflict, emotions become overwhelming and disrupt decision-making. Emotional intelligence provides the tools to align these systems so that emotions serve their intended purpose. This chapter highlights the neurological structures, chemical processes, and physiological reactions that shape emotional experience. Recognizing how the brain produces and regulates emotions prepares the reader to explore the applied aspects of emotional intelligence in later chapters. A strong understanding of the biology of emotions is essential for developing deeper emotional awareness and more effective management strategies. Chapter 3: Self-awareness, the core of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is the central pillar of emotional intelligence. It is the ability to observe, understand, and accurately interpret one's internal emotional state. Without self-awareness, individuals cannot regulate their emotions, respond effectively to challenges, or develop meaningful relationships. This chapter examines the components of self-awareness, the mechanisms that support it, and the practical value it provides in everyday life. Self-awareness begins with the recognition that emotions exist for a reason. They are internal signals that reflect needs, values, and perceptions. When individuals understand what they feel and why they feel it, they gain control over their reactions. Without this understanding, emotions influence behavior unconsciously, often resulting in impulsive or inappropriate actions. Therefore, self-awareness is the foundation upon which all other emotional skills depend. The first component of self-awareness is emotional identification. This involves naming emotions with accuracy. Many individuals experience complex feelings but cannot distinguish between them. For example, irritation, frustration, and anger may feel similar, yet each emotion conveys a different message. Irritation may indicate a minor inconvenience, frustration may signal blocked goals, and anger may reflect perceived injustice. Accurately identifying emotions allows individuals to respond with clarity. If the emotion is misunderstood, the response becomes ineffective. The second component is emotional understanding. This refers to analyzing the causes of an emotion. Individuals who practice emotional understanding ask themselves questions such as, what triggered this feeling? Why is this situation affecting me? Is my reaction proportional to the event? These reflective questions help uncover the underlying reasons behind emotional responses. Emotional understanding prevents people from attributing their reactions to the wrong sources and reduces unnecessary conflict. The third component is emotional accuracy. This refers to evaluating whether an emotional reaction matches the reality of a situation. Sometimes, past experiences, stress, or assumptions amplify emotional responses. Emotional accuracy helps individuals examine whether their reaction is based on facts or interpretations. For example, if a colleague speaks abruptly, one may feel insulted. Emotional accuracy encourages a closer examination of context before forming conclusions. This prevents misunderstandings and supports rational decision-making. Self-awareness also includes recognizing emotional patterns. Individuals tend to repeat emotional reactions in similar situations. Some may become anxious when receiving criticism, while others may become defensive. Recognizing these patterns allows individuals to predict their reactions and prepare for them. By anticipating emotional tendencies, individuals gain the opportunity to choose more constructive responses. This proactive approach strengthens emotional control. Another essential aspect of self-awareness is understanding personal values. Emotions often reveal what matters most to an individual. For instance, a strong emotional reaction to unfair treatment reflects a value for justice. A feeling of disappointment after a broken promise reveals the importance of trust. When individuals understand their values, they gain clarity about their motivations and priorities. This clarity supports confident decision-making and prevents internal conflict. Self-awareness also involves understanding one's strengths and weaknesses. Strengths are emotionally energizing abilities that individuals perform consistently well. Weaknesses, on the other hand, are areas where individuals struggle or fail under pressure. Individuals who recognize their strengths can use them more effectively, while those who acknowledge their weaknesses can seek improvement or support. Denying weaknesses leads to repeated failures, while accepting them opens the path to growth. A related dimension of self-awareness is recognizing emotional triggers. Triggers are specific situations that produce strong emotional reactions. These may include criticism, disrespect, loss of control, or unmet expectations. Emotional triggers often originate from past experiences or unresolved issues. Identifying triggers helps individuals respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. When individuals know their triggers, they can take steps to remain calm and avoid escalating emotional situations. Self-awareness also includes understanding physical signals associated with emotions. Emotions manifest in the body as increased heart rate, muscle tension, changes in breathing, or warmth in the face. These signals often appear before conscious awareness of the emotion. By paying attention to physical cues, individuals can identify emotions earlier and manage them more effectively. Early recognition provides a window of time in which individuals can choose their response rather than reacting automatically. Another element of self-awareness is reflective thinking. This involves examining experiences, analyzing reactions, and learning from them. Reflection can occur after a conversation, a decision, or an emotionally intense event. Through reflection, individuals recognize what they did well, what they could improve, and how their emotions influenced the outcome. Regular reflection strengthens emotional learning and enhances future decision-making. Self-awareness is also connected to authenticity. Authentic individuals understand who they are and act in alignment with their values. They do not pretend to hold emotions they do not feel, nor do they suppress their true reactions to please others. Authenticity fosters trust in relationships and confidence in oneself. Individuals who lack authenticity often experience internal conflict because their external behavior does not match their internal state. Developing self-awareness requires ongoing practice. One effective method is journaling. Writing down thoughts and emotions allows individuals to observe patterns and understand their internal world more clearly. Another method is mindfulness, which involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness increases awareness of emotional and physical sensations. It trains the mind to observe emotions rather than being overwhelmed by them. Feedback from others is also valuable for developing self-awareness. Individuals often have blind spots, areas where others see behavioral patterns that they themselves do not recognize. Constructive feedback from trusted individuals provides insights into these blind spots. Accepting feedback requires openness and humility, but it significantly improves self-awareness. Self-awareness impacts many aspects of life. In communication, individuals with high self-awareness express themselves clearly and listen more effectively. They avoid overreacting and communicate with intention. In relationships, self-aware individuals understand how their emotions influence their actions, which supports healthier interactions. In professional environments, self-awareness enhances leadership, teamwork, and conflict resolution. Leaders who understand their emotions make more balanced decisions and create stable work environments. In decision-making, self-awareness helps individuals separate emotion from analysis. Instead of making decisions driven by temporary feelings, self-aware individuals evaluate situations with clarity. They recognize when their emotions are influencing their perception and adjust accordingly. This leads to more consistent and effective choices. In personal growth, self-awareness guides individuals toward realistic goals that align with their values and interests. It helps them identify areas requiring improvement and supports the development of long-term habits. Without self-awareness, personal growth remains unfocused and inconsistent. Overall, self-awareness is not a passive skill. It is an active process of observing, understanding, and regulating one's emotional world. It forms the core of emotional intelligence and influences all other emotional competencies. This chapter establishes the principles of self-awareness, which serve as the foundation for exploring self-management in the next chapter. Chapter 4, Social Awareness. Social awareness is a central component of emotional intelligence and refers to the ability to understand the emotions, needs, and behaviors of other people within a social environment. It allows individuals to recognize the emotional states of those around them, interpret situational cues accurately, and respond in a way that strengthens communication and cooperation. Without social awareness, interactions become mechanical, insensitive, or misaligned with the expectations of others. This skill functions as the bridge that connects personal understanding with external relationships. Social awareness begins with the capacity to notice emotional signals. These signals may appear through facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, or behavioral changes. An individual who has developed social awareness pays attention to these subtle indicators and interprets them in the context of the situation. This interpretation allows for a more accurate understanding of how others are feeling, what they might need, and how best to communicate with them. In workplaces, schools, or personal relationships, this awareness helps prevent misunderstandings and promotes positive interpersonal outcomes. A major element of social awareness is empathy. Empathy refers to the ability to understand and relate to the emotional experiences of others. It does not require agreement with the other person's viewpoint, but involves recognizing their feelings as valid and meaningful. Empathetic individuals listen without interrupting, observe without judgment, and respond with sensitivity. Empathy creates trust, reduces conflict, and strengthens long-term relationships because people feel acknowledged and respected. Another important dimension of social awareness is organizational awareness. This refers to understanding the dynamics, values, norms, and relationships within a group, team, or institution. Individuals with organizational awareness recognize power structures, communication patterns, and cultural expectations. They understand how decisions are made, what influences group behavior, and how different roles interact within a system. This skill is especially important in professional environments where success often depends on navigating social structures effectively. A person who lacks organizational awareness may struggle to collaborate, influence, or adapt to group expectations. Social perception is also a key component of social awareness. It involves accurately observing and interpreting social cues in real time. These cues may include nonverbal signals, emotional shifts, or patterns in group behavior. Individuals with strong social perception skills are able to sense tension, identify motivation, and notice changes in mood or engagement. This capacity helps them respond appropriately and adjust their communication according to the emotional climate of the situation. Social perception enhances cooperation and reduces conflict by creating alignment between understanding and action. Social awareness also involves understanding diversity. In a world where people differ in culture, language, values, and background, the ability to appreciate these differences is essential. Socially aware individuals recognize that not all people think or feel in the same manner, and they adapt their behavior accordingly. This prevents assumptions, stereotypes, and insensitive communication. Respecting diversity strengthens social bonds and promotes fairness and inclusion, both in personal interactions and institutional environments. Listening is another foundational skill within social awareness. Effective listening requires attention not only to spoken words, but also to underlying meanings and emotional tones. Active listening involves giving full concentration, avoiding interruptions, seeking clarification when necessary, and responding thoughtfully. Good listeners create an environment where others feel comfortable expressing concerns, ideas, and emotions. This leads to more accurate understanding and improved interpersonal outcomes. Poor listening, on the other hand, results in confusion, frustration, and weakened communication. Social awareness also contributes to conflict management. When individuals understand the emotions and perspectives of others, they are better equipped to resolve disagreements. Instead of reacting defensively or making assumptions, socially aware individuals analyze the situation objectively, acknowledge different viewpoints, and seek solutions that respect all parties involved. This approach reduces hostility and encourages cooperation. In contrast, a lack of social awareness often escalates conflicts, damages relationships, and disrupts group functioning. Another important aspect of social awareness is the ability to regulate one's presence within a social environment. This involves understanding how one's behavior, tone, and actions influence others. Individuals who possess strong social awareness monitor their impact and adjust their approach to match the needs of the context. For example, they may adopt a calm tone in stressful situations, demonstrate enthusiasm during group activities, or maintain neutrality when handling sensitive discussions. This adaptability enhances communication and reinforces positive social interaction. Social awareness also supports leadership. Effective leaders understand the emotions and motivations of their team members. They recognize strengths, weaknesses, and potential challenges within the group. This allows them to guide, motivate, and support others more effectively. Leaders who lack social awareness often struggle to connect with their teams, make uninformed decisions, or ignore important emotional dynamics. Consequently, their leadership becomes rigid, ineffective, or disconnected from the group's needs. The development of social awareness requires consistent practice. It involves observing interactions, reflecting on responses, and refining perception over time. Individuals can improve this skill by paying attention to details, seeking feedback, learning from diverse perspectives, and practicing patient listening. Over time, these efforts enhance the ability to understand others and navigate social environments with clarity and confidence. Social awareness is not only beneficial for external relationships, but also for personal growth. When individuals understand how others experience emotions, they gain broader insight into human behavior. This understanding deepens emotional maturity, increases patience, and cultivates compassion. It also allows individuals to approach relationships with intention and care, rather than relying on assumptions or impulsive reactions. In summary, social awareness is a crucial dimension of emotional intelligence that enhances understanding, communication, and cooperation. It includes skills such as empathy, organizational awareness, social perception, respect for diversity, and effective listening. These skills allow individuals to interpret emotional signals accurately, respond appropriately, and contribute positively to their social environments. Social awareness strengthens relationships, reduces conflict, and supports both personal and professional success. By developing this capability, individuals become more connected, considerate, and effective in all areas of life. Chapter 5, Relationship Management. Relationship management is the fourth core domain of emotional intelligence and refers to the ability to build, maintain, and strengthen productive relationships with individuals and groups. It involves using emotional awareness and communication skills to guide interactions in a way that supports cooperation, trust, and mutual understanding. Relationship management combines all earlier elements of emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and social awareness, into effective action within social settings. It determines how well an individual influences, inspires, resolves conflict, and collaborates with others. Relationship management begins with clear and respectful communication. Effective communication requires expressing ideas, feelings, and intentions in a manner that is understandable and appropriate for the context. Individuals who excel in this skill choose their words carefully, listen actively, and respond with consideration. They avoid assumptions and focus on clarity. This approach reduces misunderstanding and builds confidence between those involved. Communication is not limited to verbal expression, but also includes tone, timing, and nonverbal cues. When these elements align, interactions become more meaningful and productive. Another crucial element of relationship management is emotional influence. Influence refers to the ability to shape the emotions and actions of others in a positive and constructive way. Individuals who use influence effectively do so without manipulation. They motivate others through encouragement, example, and supportive behavior. Influence in relationship management requires emotional insight, consistent behavior, and the ability to inspire trust. Through influence, individuals can guide teams, support colleagues, and help others navigate challenges without creating pressure or resentment. Relationship management also involves conflict resolution. Conflict is inevitable in any group or relationship, but its impact depends on how it is handled. Individuals with strong emotional intelligence view conflict as an opportunity for understanding and improvement rather than as a threat. They approach disagreements calmly, listen to all perspectives, and seek solutions that respect each party's needs. Effective conflict resolution requires patience, neutrality, and the ability to separate personal feelings from the issue. This approach helps preserve relationships and prevent long-term tension. Building trust is another fundamental component of relationship management. Trust develops when individuals demonstrate consistency, honesty, and reliability over time. Trust allows relationships to function without excessive doubt or suspicion and creates a foundation for cooperation. Individuals who value trust keep their commitments, communicate transparently, and respect confidentiality. They avoid behaviors that erode trust, such as dishonesty, unpredictability, or disregard for others' concerns. Trust contributes to psychological safety, which encourages open communication and strengthens group cohesion. Teamwork is an important aspect of relationship management, especially in professional settings. Effective teamwork requires an understanding of group dynamics, cooperation, and shared responsibility. Individuals with strong relationship management skills contribute positively to group efforts by acknowledging others' strengths, offering support, and accepting feedback. They prioritize collective goals over personal recognition and help create an environment where each member feels valued. Teamwork benefits from clear communication, flexibility, and a willingness to compromise when necessary. Leadership also plays a significant role in relationship management. Emotional intelligence is essential for effective leadership because it allows leaders to understand the emotional needs of their team and respond in a way that promotes motivation and engagement. Leaders who practice relationship management set clear expectations, provide constructive feedback, and create opportunities for others to grow. They manage stress gracefully, treat individuals with fairness, and foster a sense of purpose within the group. Leadership grounded in emotional intelligence encourages collaboration and consistent performance. Another important dimension of relationship management is the ability to coach and mentor others. Coaching involves guiding individuals toward improvement through constructive feedback and supportive dialogue. Mentoring involves sharing knowledge, experience, and insight to help others develop their skills. Individuals who excel in these areas show patience, empathy, and commitment to others' growth. They encourage self-reflection, celebrate progress, and help individuals overcome personal and professional challenges. Coaching and mentoring strengthen relationships and contribute to long-term development. Relationship management also includes adaptability. Social environments constantly shift due to changes in circumstances, emotions, and expectations. Individuals with strong emotional intelligence adjust their behavior to meet the needs of the moment. They remain calm under pressure, modify their approach when necessary, and respond thoughtfully to unexpected challenges. Adaptability helps maintain harmony and prevents minor issues from escalating into larger conflicts. It also enables individuals to function effectively in diverse environments and with different personality types. Providing constructive feedback is another significant part of relationship management. Feedback is necessary for learning and improvement, but its effectiveness depends on how it is delivered. Individuals with emotional intelligence provide feedback that is specific, objective, and respectful. They focus on behavior rather than character, and they offer practical suggestions for improvement. Constructive feedback strengthens relationships because it communicates care for the other person's development without causing defensiveness or discouragement. Relationship management also involves recognizing and managing emotional boundaries. Healthy boundaries help individuals maintain respect, prevent emotional overload, and support balanced communication. Individuals who understand boundaries avoid intrusive behavior and maintain professionalism. They recognize when to offer support, when to step back, and when to allow others space to process their emotions. Respecting boundaries creates a stable foundation for long-term relationships. Consistency is also essential in relationship management. Stable and predictable behavior builds credibility and eases communication. Individuals who act inconsistently create confusion and uncertainty, which weakens relationships. Consistency in tone, decisions, and emotional expression strengthens trust and improves cooperation. It allows others to understand expectations and engage without hesitation. Another key aspect is recognizing the emotional climate in group interactions. The emotional climate refers to the general mood or tone that prevails within a social environment. Individuals with strong relationship management skills observe these dynamics and respond accordingly. They notice when tension is rising, when enthusiasm is declining, or when motivation is strengthening. By responding to the emotional climate, they help guide the group towards stability and progress. In summary, relationship management is a vital component of emotional intelligence that determines the quality and stability of interactions. It involves clear communication, emotional influence, conflict resolution, trust building, teamwork, leadership, coaching, adaptability, and constructive feedback. Individuals who master these skills contribute positively to their personal and professional environments. They strengthen cooperation, reduce conflict, and create meaningful, long-lasting connections. Relationship management transforms emotional awareness into effective social action and plays a crucial role in developing strong, stable, and productive relationships. Chapter 6, The Role of Emotional Intelligence in Decision-Making. Decision-making is a central function of human behavior, and emotional intelligence plays a significant role in shaping the accuracy, clarity, and effectiveness of the decisions individuals make. While analytical reasoning focuses on facts, logic, and evaluation, emotional intelligence adds the ability to understand emotional influences, anticipate responses, and manage internal and external pressures. Effective decision-making requires a balance between rational thought and emotional awareness. This balance helps individuals avoid impulsive choices, recognize hidden factors, and select actions that support long-term goals. Emotional intelligence influences decision-making primarily through self-awareness. Self-awareness enables individuals to recognize their emotional states during decision-making processes. Emotions such as fear, anger, excitement, or frustration can distort judgment if not understood. A self-aware individual identifies these emotional states, acknowledges their effect, and prevents them from overpowering rational thought. This awareness also supports clarity by distinguishing personal biases from objective information. When individuals understand their internal reactions, they make decisions that reflect deliberate reasoning rather than temporary emotional impulses. Self-regulation also plays a critical role. Decision-making often occurs under pressure, and emotional regulation allows individuals to maintain composure. When emotions are controlled, individuals can analyze information more effectively, evaluate alternatives calmly, and consider potential consequences with focus. Self-regulation prevents reactive behavior, reduces errors caused by emotional overload, and maintains consistency in judgment. It also increases patience, enabling individuals to delay action until the best course becomes clear. Motivation contributes to decision-making through goal alignment and long-term thinking. Emotionally intelligent individuals make decisions that support their deeper values and objectives rather than yielding to short-term comfort or avoidance. Motivation helps them stay committed to a direction even when the decision is difficult. It encourages persistence in evaluating options and selecting the choice that offers meaningful results. Motivated decision-makers are willing to consider long-term benefits, potential challenges, and the steps necessary to achieve desired outcomes. Social awareness enhances decision-making by adding an understanding of how choices will affect others. In personal, professional, and social environments, decisions rarely impact only the individual making them. Social awareness helps individuals anticipate emotional reactions, understand group needs, and consider environmental factors. It allows decision-makers to evaluate how different groups interpret the consequences, which supports fairness and minimizes unintended conflict. Decisions informed by social awareness are more likely to be accepted and supported by others. Relationship management also shapes effective decision-making. Decisions often must be communicated, negotiated, or implemented with the cooperation of others. Emotionally intelligent individuals manage these interactions with clarity and respect. They communicate the reasoning behind decisions, address concerns, and maintain constructive dialogue. Relationship management ensures that decisions are not only well made but also well received. It reduces resistance, encourages collaboration, and supports smooth execution of chosen actions. Decision-making also requires the ability to separate relevant information from irrelevant details. Emotional intelligence strengthens this skill because emotionally intelligent individuals remain attentive to essential signals and avoid becoming overwhelmed by emotional noise. They differentiate between personal reactions and factual data, allowing them to organize information more effectively. This capacity improves accuracy and reduces confusion when analyzing complex situations. Another important aspect is the ability to handle uncertainty. Many decisions involve incomplete information and unpredictable outcomes. Individuals with strong emotional intelligence tolerate uncertainty without excessive anxiety. They avoid rushing into decisions merely to escape discomfort. Instead, they analyze available information, assess possible risks, and make calculated judgments. Emotional resilience enhances confidence, reduces fear-driven errors, and supports steady decision-making under ambiguous conditions. Emotions also carry valuable information that can guide decisions. Emotionally intelligent individuals do not suppress emotions but interpret them constructively. For example, discomfort may indicate inconsistency, excitement may highlight an opportunity, and concern may reveal an overlooked risk. By understanding the meaning behind emotional reactions, individuals integrate emotional insight with rational evaluation. This balanced approach produces decisions that are both logical and emotionally coherent. Ethical decision-making also benefits from emotional intelligence. Ethical dilemmas require individuals to consider values, fairness, and the impact of their choices on others. Emotional intelligence enhances empathy, which supports understanding of those who may be affected by the decision. It also strengthens integrity by aligning actions with personal and social values. Ethical decision-makers evaluate more than practical outcomes. They also consider moral responsibilities and the long-term implications of their choices. Problem-solving, closely linked to decision-making, is also enhanced by emotional intelligence. Emotions affect how individuals define problems, explore solutions, and evaluate results. Emotional intelligence supports clear problem definition by eliminating distortions caused by fear or frustration. It also encourages creativity by reducing mental rigidity. Individuals who manage emotions effectively explore a wider range of solutions and adapt when circumstances change. This flexibility produces decisions that are practical and innovative. Communication during decision-making benefits strongly from emotional intelligence. Presenting a decision requires clarity, confidence, and sensitivity to the audience. Emotionally intelligent individuals explain their choices openly, address concerns without defensiveness, and maintain a respectful tone. Clear communication strengthens trust and reduces misunderstandings. It also encourages participation, allowing others to provide insights that can refine the decision. Decision-making also involves evaluating consequences. Emotional intelligence enhances this process by helping individuals understand emotional outcomes as well as practical results. They consider how decisions will affect motivation, morale, relationships, and long-term engagement. This broader perspective allows for more comprehensive evaluation and reduces the likelihood of overlooking important emotional factors. Resilience supports decision-making after the choice has been made. Not all decisions produce immediate success. Emotionally intelligent individuals accept responsibility, learn from outcomes, and adjust strategies when necessary. They do not dwell on mistakes but analyze them objectively. This attitude strengthens confidence and supports better decisions in the future. In summary, emotional intelligence significantly enhances decision-making by integrating emotional insight with rational analysis. It involves self-awareness, emotional regulation, motivation, social awareness, and relationship management. Emotionally intelligent decision-makers understand their internal states, recognize emotional influences, communicate effectively, anticipate the impact of choices, and evaluate both practical and emotional consequences. This balanced approach leads to clearer, more ethical, and more sustainable decisions. Emotional intelligence transforms decision-making into a deliberate and thoughtful process that supports long-term success in both personal and professional environments. Chapter 7. Emotional intelligence in the workplace. Emotional intelligence plays a significant role in shaping workplace performance, communication, and organizational effectiveness. Modern workplaces depend on collaboration, adaptability, and interpersonal understanding, and emotional intelligence provides the foundation for these requirements. While technical skill determines what an individual can do, emotional intelligence influences how consistently and effectively they perform within a professional environment. It affects interactions, problem-solving, leadership, teamwork, and the ability to manage workplace challenges. As workplaces grow more diverse and dynamic, emotional intelligence becomes an essential asset for long-term success. A primary contribution of emotional intelligence in the workplace is improved communication. Workplace communication extends beyond the exchange of information. It involves tone, clarity, timing, and sensitivity to the emotional context. Individuals with strong emotional intelligence communicate in a manner that is direct yet respectful. They listen without interruption, observe nonverbal signals, and respond with appropriate consideration. They avoid reactive communication and instead choose language that promotes understanding and cooperation. Effective communication prevents unnecessary conflict, reduces errors, and supports a stable work environment. Emotional intelligence also enhances teamwork. Teams consist of individuals with different backgrounds, strengths, and expectations. Successful teamwork requires the ability to understand these differences, manage interpersonal dynamics, and contribute constructively to group goals. Emotionally intelligent team members acknowledge the perspectives of others, share responsibilities, and remain open to feedback. They address disagreements calmly and help maintain a cooperative atmosphere. Their presence strengthens group cohesion and increases the group's ability to solve problems efficiently. Leadership effectiveness is strongly influenced by emotional intelligence. Leaders with high emotional intelligence understand the emotional needs and motivations of their team members. They provide guidance without intimidation, offer feedback without hostility, and communicate expectations clearly. Emotionally intelligent leaders remain calm under pressure, which helps their teams remain stable during challenging situations. They are also capable of inspiring others, not through authority, but through trust, respect, and consistent behavior. Leadership based on emotional intelligence promotes engagement, productivity, and long-term loyalty. Conflict management is another important workplace function supported by emotional intelligence. Conflicts may arise from differences in opinion, workload imbalance, unclear responsibilities, or miscommunication. Emotionally intelligent individuals approach conflict with objectivity. They identify the root cause, consider the emotional states of the people involved, and seek solutions that are fair and reasonable. They avoid personal attacks and focus on the issue. This approach prevents escalation, reduces hostility, and restores cooperation. Effective conflict management also demonstrates maturity and builds credibility. Adaptability is a critical skill in workplaces where conditions frequently change. Emotional intelligence strengthens adaptability by helping individuals manage stress and maintain clarity during transitions. Emotionally intelligent employees remain composed when faced with new responsibilities, shifting expectations, or unexpected challenges. They view change as an opportunity to learn rather than as a threat. Their ability to regulate emotions allows them to focus on solutions rather than on frustration. Adaptable employees support organizational stability and contribute to continuous improvement. Workplace decision-making also benefits from emotional intelligence. Professional decisions often require balancing logic with emotional considerations. Emotionally intelligent individuals examine facts while also considering how decisions may affect morale, cooperation, and future relationships. They avoid impulsive reactions and evaluate consequences carefully. Their decisions reflect both strategic analysis and social awareness. This balanced approach enhances decision quality and supports long-term organizational goals. Workplace culture is shaped by the collective behavior of individuals, and emotional intelligence influences this culture significantly. A workplace with emotionally intelligent employees generally exhibits greater respect, open communication, and mutual support. Such environments encourage innovation because people feel comfortable sharing ideas without fear of dismissal. They also reduce stress because interactions are more understanding and considerate. A positive workplace culture improves retention, strengthens teamwork, and enhances overall performance. Another important contribution of emotional intelligence is employee well-being. Stress, pressure, deadlines, and interpersonal tension are common in professional environments. Emotionally intelligent individuals recognize signs of emotional strain in themselves and others. They use healthy strategies to manage stress, such as pacing tasks, maintaining focus, and communicating concerns early. They also provide support to colleagues who may be experiencing difficulties. Workplace well-being improves when employees understand and manage emotions effectively, reducing burnout and increasing motivation. Customer relations also benefit from emotional intelligence. Employees who interact with clients must understand emotional cues, respond with patience, and maintain professionalism even in challenging situations. Emotionally intelligent employees listen carefully, show empathy, and remain calm during complaints or misunderstandings. This improves customer satisfaction, builds trust, and supports long-term business relationships. Organizations that value emotional intelligence in customer-facing roles often experience stronger loyalty and better public perception. Another area influenced by emotional intelligence is feedback exchange. Professional growth depends on giving and receiving feedback constructively. Emotionally intelligent individuals provide feedback that is specific, respectful, and focused on improvement. They avoid criticism that attacks character or causes discouragement. When receiving feedback, they remain open and thoughtful. They avoid becoming defensive and instead reflect on how the feedback can support their development. This dynamic strengthens relationships and supports continuous learning. Diversity and inclusion are important dimensions of modern workplaces. Emotional intelligence supports inclusion by helping individuals appreciate different perspectives and avoid assumptions. Emotionally intelligent employees respect cultural, linguistic, and personal differences. They adjust their communication style according to the needs of others and remain sensitive to varying backgrounds. This creates an environment where all individuals feel valued and equal. Inclusive workplaces attract talent, encourage innovation, and promote fairness. Accountability is also strengthened by emotional intelligence. Individuals with emotional intelligence take responsibility for their actions. They admit mistakes without excuses, correct errors promptly, and remain transparent in their behavior. Accountability builds trust between colleagues and supports ethical workplace practices. Emotionally intelligent individuals also encourage accountability within teams by modeling consistent and responsible behavior. In summary, emotional intelligence plays a vital role in workplace effectiveness. It influences communication, teamwork, leadership, conflict management, adaptability, decision-making, culture building, customer relations, feedback exchange, diversity, inclusion, and accountability. Emotionally intelligent employees contribute positively to organizational success by promoting cooperation, stability, and ethical behavior. As workplaces continue to evolve, emotional intelligence will remain a fundamental skill for achieving professional excellence and sustaining productive relationships. Chapter 8. Developing emotional intelligence. Developing emotional intelligence is an intentional and structured process that requires awareness, practice, and consistent reflection. Emotional intelligence is not a fixed trait, but a set of skills that can be strengthened over time. Individuals improve emotional intelligence by understanding their emotional patterns, refining their communication abilities, enhancing empathy, and applying strategies that promote emotional regulation. The development process involves learning, observation, and disciplined self-improvement. As individuals cultivate these skills, they experience more stable relationships, clearer decision-making, and increased personal and professional effectiveness. The development of emotional intelligence begins with improving self-awareness. Self-awareness requires honest recognition of one's emotional states, strengths, weaknesses, and behavioral tendencies. Individuals enhance self-awareness by paying attention to their internal responses, monitoring emotional triggers, and reflecting on how emotions influence their actions. Journaling, self-reflection exercises, and feedback from trusted individuals support deeper understanding. Self-awareness develops gradually as individuals maintain openness to learning and avoid defensiveness when examining their behaviors. Increased self-awareness lays the foundation for all other emotional intelligence skills. A second essential component is strengthening self-regulation. Self-regulation requires individuals to manage their emotional reactions in a manner that is balanced and constructive. Developing regulation begins with recognizing emotional impulses before acting on them. Techniques such as deep breathing, structured pauses, and deliberate thinking help individuals maintain composure during challenging situations. Self-regulation also involves replacing impulsive reactions with thoughtful responses. Over time, individuals learn to handle stress without escalation, express emotions appropriately, and maintain stability even in environments with high pressure or conflict. Motivation development is another aspect of emotional intelligence. Motivation in this context refers to internal drive rather than external rewards. Individuals strengthen motivation by setting meaningful goals, clarifying personal values, and cultivating persistence. Reflecting on long-term objectives helps individuals maintain focus during difficulties. Motivation grows when individuals celebrate progress, remain consistent with their values, and view challenges as opportunities for improvement. This capacity supports resilience and reinforces commitment to responsible decision-making. Improving social awareness is central to developing emotional intelligence. Social awareness involves understanding the emotions, needs, and behaviors of others. Individuals develop this skill by observing nonverbal cues, paying attention to tone of voice, and practicing active listening. They learn to recognize emotional shifts and respond with sensitivity. Social awareness also includes understanding social structures, group dynamics, and cultural differences. Exposure to diverse environments, respectful dialogue, and willingness to learn from others strengthen this competence. Increased social awareness leads to more accurate interpretations and more effective interactions. Another important area of development is relationship management. This skill involves applying emotional insight into communication and collaboration. Individuals strengthen relationship management by practicing clear communication, expressing thoughts respectfully, and addressing issues constructively. Learning to give and receive feedback enhances mutual understanding. Conflict management also improves through techniques such as acknowledging different viewpoints, separating issues from personal identity, and seeking solutions that support fairness. Relationship management develops through consistent practice and engagement with others in a thoughtful and respectful manner. Developing emotional intelligence also requires recognizing and adjusting unproductive emotional habits. Many individuals develop patterns such as overreacting, withdrawing, blaming, or ignoring emotional signals. Identifying these patterns is the first step toward change. Once recognized, individuals practice replacing these habits with healthier responses. For example, instead of reacting with frustration, they may choose to pause and reflect. Instead of withdrawing in conflict, they may choose to communicate concerns calmly. Replacing old habits with intentional actions gradually strengthens emotional competence. Mindfulness is another tool that supports the development of emotional intelligence. Mindfulness refers to the practice of being fully present and aware of one's thoughts, feelings, and environment without judgment. Mindfulness helps individuals observe emotions in real time, reducing impulsive reactions. It enhances mental clarity, improves focus, and increases tolerance for discomfort. Mindfulness practices such as meditation, breathing exercises, and reflective pauses support emotional stability. Over time, mindfulness contributes to deeper self-awareness and improved regulation. Active listening is an essential developmental skill for emotional intelligence. Active listening involves giving full attention to the speaker, avoiding interruptions, and seeking to understand rather than to respond automatically. It requires observing nonverbal cues and asking clarifying questions when necessary. Active listening strengthens empathy, reduces misunderstandings, and promotes respectful communication. It also helps individuals understand the emotional context behind words, which supports more accurate and effective responses. Feedback plays a significant role in developing emotional intelligence. Constructive feedback from others provides insight into emotional patterns, behavioral tendencies, and interpersonal effects that individuals may not notice themselves. Seeking feedback requires openness and willingness to change. Evaluating feedback objectively helps individuals identify areas for improvement and adjust their behavior accordingly. Feedback serves as a mirror that reflects emotional strengths and weaknesses, supporting continuous growth. Developing emotional intelligence also requires patience. Emotional growth occurs gradually, and meaningful change requires consistent effort. Individuals may experience setbacks as they attempt to modify old habits or practice new strategies. Patience allows them to remain committed to improvement without becoming discouraged. Emotional intelligence development is a long-term process, and persistence ensures continued progress. Another important factor is environmental support. Supportive environments encourage emotional learning, open communication, and constructive dialogue. Individuals improve emotional intelligence more effectively when surrounded by people who value respect, understanding, and mutual learning. Workplaces and schools that promote emotional development through training, mentorship, and structured programs create opportunities for individuals to practice and refine these skills. Exposure to diverse experiences also enhances emotional intelligence. Interacting with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives challenges assumptions and broadens understanding. Diversity encourages flexibility, empathy, and appreciation for complexity in human behavior. Individuals develop stronger emotional intelligence when they adapt to varied social situations and engage in conversations that expand their worldview. Emotional responsibility is another dimension of development. Individuals strengthen emotional intelligence when they take responsibility for their thoughts, emotions, and actions. This means acknowledging mistakes, understanding the impact of behavior, and choosing corrective actions. Emotional responsibility prevents blame shifting and promotes maturity. It also supports stronger relationships through accountability and honesty. In summary, developing emotional intelligence is a gradual and intentional process that involves strengthening self-awareness, improving self-regulation, enhancing motivation, building social awareness, and refining relationship management skills. Strategies such as mindfulness, active listening, feedback integration, emotional responsibility, and exposure to diversity support this development. Emotional intelligence grows through consistent practice, disciplined reflection, and openness to change. As individuals cultivate emotional intelligence, they gain the ability to navigate emotional challenges, build meaningful relationships, and perform effectively in personal and professional environments. Chapter 9, Conflict Resolution Through Emotional Intelligence. Conflict is an inevitable part of human interaction. Whether in families, workplaces, friendships, or communities, people with different perspectives and emotions will eventually face disagreements. Emotional intelligence provides a structured and effective way to handle conflict without damaging relationships. Instead of reacting impulsively, a person with strong emotional intelligence responds with clarity, empathy, and fairness. This chapter explains how emotional intelligence supports conflict resolution, why it is more effective than traditional approaches, and how individuals can apply these skills in real-life situations. Conflict typically arises due to unmet needs, misunderstandings, emotional triggers, communication gaps, or clashing values. Many conflicts escalate not because of the issue itself, but because individuals fail to manage their emotions. When anger, frustration, or fear takes control, people often react defensively, blame others, or withdraw completely. Emotional intelligence changes this approach by guiding individuals to recognize their internal emotional state before responding. The first step in conflict resolution is identifying the emotions involved and understanding how they influence thoughts and behavior. A person who is aware of their emotional triggers can prevent the conflict from escalating. Self-awareness allows individuals to pause, reflect, and understand the real cause of their reactions. For example, someone may feel angry during a disagreement at work, but the deeper emotion could be anxiety about failing or insecurity about being judged. When individuals identify these underlying emotions, they can communicate more clearly and avoid unnecessary hostility. This awareness helps them express what they feel without attacking the other person. The second component is self-regulation. Managing emotional impulses is essential in resolving conflict. A regulated person does not let irritation or frustration dictate their actions. Instead, they use calm communication, stable body language, and controlled tone. Conflict becomes much more manageable when both parties feel respected and heard. Self-regulation also involves delaying immediate reactions, choosing neutral words, and focusing on the problem rather than the person. In many cases, a brief pause to breathe or collect thoughts can prevent a minor disagreement from turning into a major argument. Empathy plays a central role in conflict resolution. It allows individuals to understand the emotional experience of the other person. Empathy does not mean agreeing with their viewpoint, but it requires acknowledging their feelings as valid. When people feel understood, they are more willing to collaborate, listen, and compromise. Empathy helps in identifying what the other person truly needs, which is often hidden behind anger or defensiveness. For example, a colleague may seem upset about workload distribution, but the underlying concern could be lack of recognition or feeling excluded. Recognizing these emotional layers leads to more meaningful solutions. Effective communication is another essential aspect supported by emotional intelligence. During conflict, communication must be clear, calm, and purposeful. Using assertive rather than aggressive language helps maintain respect. Assertive communication expresses needs without violating the other person's boundaries. This includes using I statements such as, "I feel concerned about the timeline," rather than "you never finish work on time." Such statements reduce defensiveness and focus on the issue rather than the individual. Active listening is also a part of effective communication. It involves giving full attention, avoiding interruptions, and summarizing the other person's point to ensure understanding. Social awareness contributes to recognizing the broader context of the conflict. Sometimes disagreements are influenced by cultural backgrounds, organizational structures, power dynamics, or social expectations. Emotional intelligence helps individuals understand these factors and adjust their approach accordingly. For example, a conflict with a superior at work requires different communication strategies compared to a disagreement with a close friend. Understanding the social context prevents misinterpretation and guides appropriate behavior. The ability to find a collaborative solution is another outcome of emotional intelligence. Rather than trying to win an argument, emotionally intelligent individuals focus on solving the actual problem. They aim for outcomes where both parties feel respected and satisfied. This approach builds long-term trust and prevents recurring conflicts. Collaborative problem solving involves identifying shared goals, brainstorming solutions, evaluating options fairly, and selecting the most balanced outcome. Emotional intelligence also encourages accountability. Individuals accept their part in the conflict rather than blaming others entirely. Taking responsibility helps create an atmosphere of honesty and fairness. When one person acknowledges their mistakes, it often encourages the other person to do the same. This leads to a healthier and more productive resolution. Reflective thinking completes the conflict resolution process. After the conflict is resolved, emotionally intelligent individuals evaluate what happened, what they learned, and how they can improve their response in future situations. Reflection strengthens emotional skills and prepares individuals for similar challenges. Over time, this practice creates emotional maturity and resilience. In many environments, unresolved conflict leads to long-term tension, emotional fatigue, and reduced productivity. Emotional intelligence provides a proactive solution. Instead of avoiding conflict or responding aggressively, individuals use emotional skills to transform disagreements into opportunities for growth. Families become more supportive, workplaces become more cooperative, and personal relationships become more stable. In conclusion, emotional intelligence is a powerful tool for resolving conflict. It promotes understanding, reduces emotional escalation, encourages respectful communication, and leads to fair and sustainable solutions. By developing self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, effective communication skills, and social understanding, individuals can manage conflict with confidence and clarity. Conflict is no longer a destructive force, but a pathway to improved relationships and deeper emotional insight. Chapter 10. Building long-term relationships with emotional intelligence. Long-term relationships form the foundation of both personal and professional life. Whether the relationship exists between family members, friends, partners, colleagues, or leaders in their teams, its strength depends on mutual trust, communication, respect, and emotional understanding. Emotional intelligence plays a central role in building and maintaining such relationships. It not only shapes how individuals express their emotions, but also determines how they interpret and respond to the emotions of others. This chapter explains how emotional intelligence supports long-term relationship building and how individuals can apply these principles to create lasting, healthy connections. A long-term relationship does not remain stable by chance. It requires consistent emotional effort, understanding, and adaptability. One of the fundamental components is self-awareness. When individuals understand their emotional patterns, strengths, weaknesses, and triggers, they interact more responsibly. Self-awareness helps them communicate their needs clearly without placing unnecessary pressure on the relationship. It prevents misinterpretation and supports honest discussions. A self-aware person is more capable of expressing emotions in a balanced way and addressing personal issues before they influence the relationship negatively. Self-regulation further strengthens long-term relationships. In close interactions, emotional reactions often occur quickly, especially during stress or disagreement. Without regulation, these reactions can create distance or resentment. Emotional intelligence teaches individuals to pause, reflect, and choose a constructive response. This practice reduces unnecessary arguments and supports emotional stability within the relationship. It also builds trust, as the other person feels safe knowing emotional reactions will be balanced rather than impulsive. Empathy is a core component of lasting relationships. It allows individuals to understand the emotional experiences of others without judgment. When people feel understood, they develop a deeper sense of connection. Empathy encourages patience, compassion, and emotional closeness. In long-term relationships, it helps partners or colleagues recognize when someone is struggling, even without explicit communication. This awareness allows for timely support, which strengthens emotional bonds. Empathy also enables individuals to accept differences in personality, background, and communication styles. Social awareness contributes to understanding the broader context of relationships. Every relationship exists within a larger environment influenced by culture, expectations, and roles. Emotional intelligence helps individuals interpret these social factors and behave appropriately. For example, in a workplace relationship, understanding organizational culture improves collaboration and reduces misunderstandings. In family relationships, recognizing generational expectations or emotional history helps address conflicts with sensitivity. Effective communication is essential for building and sustaining long-term relationships. Emotional intelligence improves communication by promoting clarity, respect, and active listening. Clear communication involves expressing needs, concerns, and expectations directly but respectfully. It avoids assumptions and reduces confusion. Active listening requires full attention, acknowledgement of the other person's perspective, and thoughtful responses. This practice prevents misinterpretation and strengthens trust. Emotionally intelligent communication also focuses on solution-oriented dialogue rather than blame or criticism. Trust is the foundation of any long-term relationship. Emotional intelligence supports trust by encouraging honesty, accountability, consistency, and transparency. When individuals take responsibility for their actions, admit their mistakes, and communicate openly, they create a stable environment. Trust protects the relationship during difficult times and allows conflicts to be resolved more smoothly. Over time, trust becomes the emotional anchor that keeps the relationship strong even when challenges arise. Another important aspect of long-term relationships is adaptability. Life changes continuously, and relationships must evolve accordingly. Emotional intelligence allows individuals to adjust to new circumstances such as career changes, personal growth, family responsibilities, or emotional challenges. Adaptability prevents rigidity and allows the relationship to grow rather than stagnate. It supports open-mindedness and encourages both individuals to understand and accept change. Positive reinforcement also strengthens emotional bonds in long-term relationships. Appreciation, recognition, and supportive behavior nurture a sense of value and belonging. Emotional intelligence encourages individuals to express gratitude, acknowledge contributions, and celebrate achievements. These practices may seem small, but they significantly influence emotional satisfaction. When people feel valued, they invest more effort into the relationship and maintain emotional closeness. Conflict management is another key element of long-term relationships. While conflict cannot be avoided entirely, emotional intelligence ensures that disagreements do not damage the relationship. By applying empathy, self-regulation, and effective communication, individuals address issues constructively. They focus on understanding the core problem rather than attacking each other. This approach preserves respect and strengthens the relationship rather than weakening it. Emotional support is essential for maintaining strong relationships over time. Individuals experience stress, loss, joy, and personal transformation throughout their lives. Emotionally intelligent relationships provide a stable emotional base during these changes. Supportive behavior includes listening without judgment, offering comfort, giving constructive feedback, and being present during important moments. Emotional support deepens trust and creates a long-lasting emotional connection. In conclusion, emotional intelligence plays a vital role in building and sustaining long-term relationships. It enhances self-awareness, improves emotional control, strengthens empathy, supports effective communication, and encourages mutual trust. Emotional intelligence also promotes adaptability, emotional support, and constructive conflict resolution. These elements together create relationships that are resilient, meaningful, and emotionally fulfilling. Individuals who apply emotional intelligence consistently are more likely to maintain lasting connections in their personal and professional lives.